afternoon, everybody. Toby Beth Johnson with Burnt Store Title of Southwest Florida, with your host Abby Hamilton of Peacock Premier Properties, your realtor next door. It's a bird! It's a plane! It's the Florida International Air Show. Please stay tuned for episode number 7 with our special guest, the very first female president of the Florida International Air Show, Ms. Denise Dull.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Moving Parts Podcast. It's episode 7, so thank you for continuing your journey with us. I'm Abby Hamilton, realtor with Peacock Premier Properties, the realtor gal next door, and I am partnered with Burnt Store Title of Southwest Florida. Toby Beth's in the room today to support them, and we also have a wonderful guest here today, Denise Stoll with the Florida International Air Show. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So Denise, what's your official title, would you say?
I am, I would guess you could call me president of the board of directors of the Florida International Air Show.
Wonderful. And that is a big accomplishment.
Yes, I guess it is. I'm the first actual female of the board of directors of the air show.
Wow, what a great accomplishment. And what are some, I think people might not know a little bit what the Florida International Air Show is. So what is the joy that Punta Gorda has in being able to host the Florida International Air Show?
The air show, I guess you could say, it's a family friendly event. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-day event. It hasn't always been a 3-day event. It started as a single event back in 1950.
Wow.
Hosted on the grounds of the Punta Gorda Airport, which back then was a training grounds for the Army.
Okay.
So it was an Army base for pilots that were based there, that lived on the site for P-40 Warhawks, mm-hmm. Which then eventually turned into P-51 Mustang pilots. But they were trained and lived there on the base, and it had its first air show in 1950. And it became an event over the years, and it's turned into a 3-day, family-friendly, an awesome day, awesome weekend, I guess you could say.
So Punta Gorda has a lot of history, and that is phenomenal that from 1950 we've kept this event going.
Right.
And so how, as a community, can we do, I don't want to say do better, but I mean, I personally haven't seen as much information on it, and I would love to help support it. I'm sure other local businesses would love to help support it. So how can we make this, no pun intended, take off?
It takes money.
Yeah.
It's not easy to run an air show. Performers cost money. Mm-hmm. Not the military doesn't always cost money. I mean, they always have to come because what behind an air show is usually recruitment for them. They want to retain what they have and that kind of thing. So they'll come as long as it's beneficial for them. But everything else isn't free. Mm-hmm. So sponsorships is key. But sponsors want something out of it too, So building a show that brings value to sponsorships is ideal. But you have to try to figure out what that is, right? Not everybody, it's not always just tickets to a sponsor. Mm-hmm. So we have to have those conversations and build those relationships. And ideally we do. We have some great sponsors, people that have been sponsorships with us and built sponsorships with us over the years. So that's great. We have Tropical Smoothie is a good sponsor with us. We brought in a big sponsorship this year with FPL.
Oh, wow.
Who did some great things over the hurricane, and
yes, they did.
And they want to build some good community support. So we were lucky with that. Not every sponsorship has to be money. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that have to happen on the airport grounds for us to have that show. We have to bring in tents. We have to bring in fencing. We have to bring in food. Mm-hmm. Porta potties.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have to happen.
Accommodating such a big group.
And you have to get the grounds ready. There has to be mowing. There has to be grading. There has to be ants that have to be taken care of. Yep. There's a lot of things. So, it doesn't always have to be the dollars that have to get exchanged. So having those conversations with local businesses is the start. Mm-hmm. So when somebody comes knocking at your door and says they want to talk about the air show, it doesn't always have to be that you have to stroke that check. Don't get me wrong, money's always good.
Yep.
Because we do have to pay folks for food, beverages, things like that, and the performers do have to get paid, and gas. It takes gas to get here. But it does take money to put on an event.
And I think word of mouth can be such a huge tool. I mean, simply even doing this podcast today and growing up in this area, you always know wonderful locals that want to help support something that was so rich in our community over the years.
Right.
And so not only that, I know that we will have guests from all over. Where are you seeing some of these participants coming to the air show from? Are they from, just Florida, or are they across the nation?
Our ticket base, the people that come here to see this show, is very wide, and they come for a lot of different reasons. Some people just love air shows. It's like people just love NASCAR. People just love football. People just love to go somewhere and be part of something that's bigger than, them. They love a following. And, I don't remember, somebody asked me once about why do people like air shows. It's red, white, and blue. I mean, it's there's nothing more patriotic than an air show. It's like NASCAR, hot dogs, pizza, Leonard Skinner, and fireworks all wrapped into one.
I mean, that's a great analogy.
It really
my
is.
husband, actually, he was on a previous episode, and he has his private pilot's license, and he did all his learning at the Punta Gorda airport. So his passion, I mean, he's always loved planes, but then that kind of hits home too. So every time there's an air show, he's always like, Abby, let's go. Because, I mean, I think people that have an understanding appreciate it, not just the fun and the thrills of it, but all the work and all of those that participate in just seeing such huge aircrafts and and the expertise and learning. I think there's so many components to be appreciative of by participating in that show.
I mean, I don't know what gives you chills more, the loud and fast sound of jets or the look of a C-17 flying in, or SOCOM coming in with the big American flag, or just the Thunderbirds. I mean, it's just, you can't beat it. I used to get goosebumps. I sold beer at the Rays games, and that used to give me chills when I heard the Star Spangled Banner play at a baseball game. I mean, I thought that was that was it for me. Every time I hear the Star Spangled Banner at an air show, that tops it for me. And then the Jets come, and then I just thought that was the end all be all. I'm sure there's going to be another one at some point in time coming down the road, because air shows are just amazing things.
It's very special. And there's already, I mean, if people wanted tickets, they can already get tickets. Is that correct?
Yeah, we actually did something new this year and did a pre-sale for our newsletter. Folks who joined our newsletter early, ticket holder team. And our reserve seating, or preferred seating, we call it, friends and family chalets in our flight club is already selling very fast.
Wow.
So I'd suggest if people are looking at tickets in those areas that they start purchasing their tickets.
And for those that may be coming out of town or are seasonal, what are the dates that were planned for this air show?
It's November 4th and 5th, Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so if you are trying to make arrangements to be here, November 4th and 5th.
Yeah, we are having a show on Friday evening.
Okay.
It's a twilight show, but that show is just for sponsors. So if you are interested in sponsorships, that show is going to be pretty special.
Wow, that does. And what a great way to feel like, you get that extra experience that you can only take advantage if you are a sponsor on that. So what are some of the sponsorships that people can participate in?
We try to make it easy for folks to consider sponsorship at all levels. So we have lower level sponsorships that are available. You can go online and look at those directly in your pocketbook. The website is FloridaAirShow.com.
Okay.
So it's very easy. You can read through the menu of options that are available to you. You can pick one and pay directly online. And then for the larger levels, you can there's a email that you can select, and someone will contact you. We can build those for whatever your appetite and for whatever the value is that you would like to get out of it. Like I said, not everybody wants the typical tickets and banner and advertising. If you want to build something that brings branding or value back to your business, then we'll work with you on that.
So
it has to
many
be a win-win.
options to consider.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Which is great because every business has their own need and drive, and so that's great to know that something is suited just for that business particularly.
Technology is a wonderful thing these days.
Yes, yes it is, and we're taking advantage of it right now.
Yes.
Being where we are in Punta Gorda, this Punta Gorda, Charlotte County, Sarasota County area, I mean, tourism is a huge drive, and being that November, that's finally, we'll be out of this summer heat, and we'll start letting that beautiful weather trickle in. I know, fingers crossed. Yeah. But what businesses should take advantage of is all the people that will be coming and using the accommodations and housing and rental properties and the food industry. I mean, how many people do you anticipate coming to an event like this? What do you guys kind of plan for, estimated wise?
We're planning for, we're hoping to see about 20,000 a day for between the 2 days. On average, air shows are starting to see an uptick in tickets, and we're starting to see an uptick actually in our ticket sales over the past years as well. It's that post-COVID type of a get out of the house scenario, and we're going to be ready for it.
That's great.
People are coming from all over too. I get excited looking at the ticket sales. People are coming right now on what I'm seeing from as far west coast as California, Las Vegas. We have a fan base up into Canada, through Texas, not just in Florida. We do have a wide ticketing purchasing base traditionally, as far north and outside of Tampa, down through Naples and over as far as the East Coast. So we get a large ticketing base here on our regular shows, even without a jet team. When we have a jet team, it doubles, sometimes triples. So our ticketing base is very large.
Well, and so it's really a truly international experience.
It is.
So that's great. I mean, you're drawing in such a crowd, which is great for our local area. And what are some of other ways that you've mentioned, I believe in the past, that you've seen other small cities or that are able to host an air show,
right,
and how that community got so involved, and what are some things that you saw that maybe we can try to recreate here and bring that joy and fun into?
I would love to see this turn into a bigger event than even a weekend. I mean, I've been up in Baltimore where they have what's called Fleet Week, and that town just goes nuts. I mean, they have restaurants and bars that host a whole week of events, and prior to the jet team even coming in, where they have specials and drink specials and all that, and I would love to see that
just
here.
That build-up of excitement. And plus, who doesn't have fun with a theme like that?
Oh yeah, it's red, white, and blue all week long, and we have the atmosphere and the demographic to do it, and it's just all it takes is the community to really get behind the show, and I think that the performers and stuff coming in, they would absolutely love it.
Yeah,
and it just takes a community spirit to do it, and we'll get there.
Yeah,
we're building.
I'm already getting excited to find ways to help, make this even a bigger event. And
we have, we do have hotel sponsors coming on this year with the 4 Points and the Wyvern, and it will get to the point where it'll be a really nice feel downtown, and we're building it. We build it, and it will
calm
come
before the crazy. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask too, how much, what is the revenue from an event like this, and where does the revenue go towards taking care of the businesses that are participating in this event, and I guess, what is the result of all the money that is brought in?
A lot of people think that we're for a for-profit type of an operation. We're a nonprofit organization, like most of the people that help us. We're a all volunteer board. We're it takes about 500 volunteers to run this event. So we cross our fingers and say our prayers and hope that we get the support that we need from the community.
Well, thank you first off for just knowing how much time that you personally, I can only imagine all the time that everyone has put in to make such a wonderful event for us to participate in.
Sure.
We get to show up and enjoy it, but you guys have, you'll enjoy seeing the happiness and the joy that comes from bringing in all those people. But
you know what,
it's a lot of work.
It's a loyal volunteer base. There are people that show up year after year after year and volunteer their time. And it's amazing, the people that do. And they'll say, I come every year. This is what I do. And it's a family of volunteers. It really is. And the groups of volunteers that show up. That being said, so much of that money that is raised through the event goes right back into the community. Of the volunteer groups that do come, at the end of the day, checks are cut right back to those groups. So in the 42 years of the show, over 3.5 million have gone back out to the community in charity dollars back to Southwest Florida.
So really
charities.
supporting the event is supporting our community.
Exactly.
And it's a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want to support where we live?
Right. So that's what I try to get across to companies that sponsor the event. You're investing in your community's charities by not really investing in your community's charities. So you're providing a weekend of family fun for folks and businesses, the food trucks and the folks that do come and can make profit and do what they need to do that day to keep their businesses afloat, and cut checks back to charity.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. And for those that may not know what to expect, what are some exciting things they can expect seeing at this upcoming air show?
What I can,
true.
I
don't want to.
What I can tell you,
because non-disclosure.
There's a lot of moving parts still. We're only in August.
The podcast moving parts. We get it.
I get it. Right. I didn't even tie that in. One for me. It's August, and when you do work with the military and some things, I can say this. And I don't think the community realizes it enough. This show, in its 42 years, has such a very respected following in the air show community. When we go out to Las Vegas for the International Air Show Conference or the ICAST conference, I went for the first time 3 years ago, I think, when I first got on the board. I didn't realize what a big deal it was. I just thought we were going to Las Vegas for a conference. I just thought, hey, this is going to be cool, right? I was shocked.
Okay.
When you're wearing this shirt and you're in the conference room floor with thousands of people, and people start running to you, over to you to talk to you, it's very humbling. Performers and people in the industry and suppliers and folks, they want to come to Punta Gorda. They want to be a part of this show, and they want to talk to you, to get invited to be here, and they won't take no for an answer. They want to be a part of the show, and it's very, very, very humbling to be a part of that.
What a great perspective to have on that, because there are, what a good feeling it is to have, knowing all of these different organizations want to be a part of something so special.
Right. And I think the community should want to be a part of that. When these folks come to town, you should be proud of that fact. You should be proud of the fact that these people want to come here, and they want to give you the show that that you deserve and that you want to see. And I think that I want people to see that.
Yeah, and to keep this tradition alive.
Absolutely.
How cool, to be another 50 years from now, and you're.
Having said that, we're almost, we're going to be having a 50th.
Yes.
So
yeah, we're right around the corner.
We need to make sure that we have all that memorabilia and build that up and have that nice big fat 50th celebration.
Absolutely. So Denise, while this might be a full-time job in some ways, what is your background in? How did you kind of get into this role? And maybe share a little bit about what you really do, what you get paid to do full-time outside of this.
I started just by volunteering. I think everything starts with anything good that you do by being a volunteer. And I came to Florida almost 30 years ago.
Okay.
And I didn't know anybody. And I started just volunteering. And I have met some amazing people doing some amazing things with events in volunteering, with Habitat, March of Dimes. I could run down a list of some really cool things.
Well, you're surrounded with other wonderful people that want to give their time up, and I think that speaks wonders. It's like those serving are surrounded by other people who love to serve, which is great connections to start off.
Well, and that kind of, I worked for a company for about 10 years, and I went through a Leadership Charlotte program with the Chamber. And that kind of brought me to where I am now.
Oh, wow. And I've heard great things. Like, we literally just talked about leadership. That podcast is coming up, and by the time this one releases, that would have been already out. But leadership is phenomenal.
It's a great career boost for you. It took me to the company I was for 10 years, but it also landed me in service work, where I landed at the Gulf Coast Partnership with my Leadership Charlotte alumni, Angela Hogan. But it also landed me where I am now as the Director of Operations and Marketing with a nonprofit called Porch, which is Peace River Community Housing Partners.
Okay.
And what we do is we build and are an advocate for affordable housing in the
much
community.
Needed.
For at-risk and families and individuals. So right now we are kicking off a project for military families, a triplex on Scott Street, which is the first project that we're doing. So we're building housing on Scott Street for military.
Wow. So, I mean, your line of work kind of coincides.
It's funny how that happens,
it's
right?
Giving back in other ways. I don't think it's a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. So how special. And I mean, in our area, I'm as a local, and all the locals can agree, this, the market has made housing so unaffordable for the working class in our communities, and it's been hard, and a lot of people are getting pushed out. Homelessness is more prevalent, and it's been heartbreaking for me to, I serve a lot of friends and referrals to see a lot of them have been on the sidelines just trying to get into something. So it looks like we're going to need to have another podcast with it, because we could talk so much on the housing.
I could talk about housing all day long.
Yeah. And being that's my job, I'm sure we have some interesting insights on both ends. So we'll definitely recontinue that on another one.
I would love to.
But moving back into, this air show, why Punta Gorda, and how did that become the place?
It was the airport. It was the airport's love for the old warbirds and the old military tie-in that's really kicked off and started the air show. And we have a fabulous relationship with the airport still. And the airport's got a great relationship. And they're going back to their old military ties with a lot of the things that they're doing right now too. And it's a great win-win for us.
Awesome. Well, and that's nice that there's still that special connection, because everything's about relationships. The better it is,
And they sit on our board with the liaison, and we have a great tie with them.
Awesome. Well, I know that there are some charities that through this funding that we're able to help support through the International Air Show. And can you name a few of those? And
we have an event on Friday, and actually it's one that's a good fit with the Thunderbirds too, and a lot of the other folks that the performers and a lot of the other folks in the community too. We do a Make-A-Wish candlelighters event during the afternoon, and we bring in some kids in the afternoon, and they get to see practice during the day, just for them.
Cool.
And we take time to let them see the practice show.
Cool.
And the performers get to spend a little time with them, just them.
So that's the Friday you said before?
Friday during practice, so it's in the afternoon.
Okay. And so that's something that, how can, if those want to help, be a part of that, how can how can we try to?
It's just through sponsorship.
Okay.
Sponsorship dollars for that. They come with their own caregivers and stuff like that. Reverend Klausner and Hazel, they take care of that event for us.
Okay.
And set that up. So
sponsorships can really give you such a moving experience to be part of this historical event.
But we feed them. We give them.
You get spoiled.
little swag bags. They get some extra stuff.
Awesome.
And I don't know if Bill needs volunteers to help with that team or not, but surely get in touch with us.
Yeah. Speaking of volunteers,
we always need volunteers.
And
that's a great tie in there.
I was going to touch on that. I mean,
there's a volunteer page on our website.
Perfect.
You can email there. Connie Height is our director of volunteers. Connie can be reached through an email on that page as well. FloridaAirShow.com.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure the links are included because, volunteering, like we discussed.
Over 500 people. You got to park. You got to take tickets. You got to work the gate. You got to. There's concessions.
Of moving parts in that.
A lot of moving parts.
Well, thank you, Denise, for coming on and sharing a snapshot of what to look forward to as a resident of the community, as a business owner in the community, and hopefully our listeners and viewers will find opportunities to make this even a bigger event and to show that pride in our community, which is a wonderful thing. So thank you.
Time or money. We'll take both.
Well, we appreciate it. And
thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for being here. And we're excited to see it take off.
Hi folks, Toby Beth Johnson here once again. Thank you so much for tuning into episode number 7 of Moving Parts. We hope you are flying through the clouds with all the wonderful information about the Florida International Air Show. Today's title tip is actually more informational about Bernstore Title of Southwest Florida and our love of our local community. The Florida International Air Show, giving back to some of our local charities, being a non-profit organization. Bernstore Title of Southwest Florida is so proud to announce that we will be partnering up as a sponsor for the Florida International Air Show in an effort to keep our place right here in Southwest Florida. Stay tuned, folks, for episode number 8 coming your way on Moving Parts.